Okay. Please, everyone, attention here. So we said this would be the name. This would be match. So VBA. And over here, we put channel. Okay, now this we have already, we didn't do in any code. Now, first thing I would do is record a short macro. So I go over here, record a macro. I call it, so I don't really need this macro, I'm going to just copy. So I'm not going to give it the name, I can erase it later. And I go over here. I press use relative reference. I press control arrow down. This brings me to the last row that has information. Okay, if I would have had names over here up to line 27, by pressing on control and arrow down, I would have gotten to 27. And now I go one more down, and I'm in the first row that is empty. This is what I wanted, and I press stop recording. Now I have my recording, and I'm going to go to the code. Okay, I open the module, and here's my code. And I'm going to start a new sub. And I'm going to declare 3 variables.
Control arrow down, which arrow down did you do? You just put the down arrow and that's it, and button it all out.
Control and down arrow, yeah.
We're going to go down one more after that.
Okay, so I declared 3 variables. Now I'm going to put values into these variables. Okay, questions up to here? Okay, no.
Math.
What?
It's math, second time you spell.
Now you notice I used a lot of copy paste, saves me from doing spelling mistakes in the names of the variables, saves me time in writing the code. Okay, so up to here, no questions. I hope you all got to this point at least. Now, at this point, I have the information that I want, and what I need to do is put the information in the right place. Okay? So, first of all, I want to be in the right place, and by doing that, I just go and do this. Okay? And this is getting to the right cell where I want to put the information. Now, I take this active cell equals copy this, put it over here, and now in the active cell I put in the student's name. Okay? Now the next thing is active cell offset. Active cell is the active cell. Offset means I'm going to move from this cell. Now 1 is how many rows I want to move, and 0, or the next variable over here, is parameter, is how many columns. Well, I want to stay in the same row, so I put over here 0. And I want to move 1 column, so I put over here 1. Okay? This is just like the cell command, where I have rows and columns. The difference is that cell is static, and offset is dynamic to the place where I am right now. Okay, how many rows or columns I want to move up or down, left or right. Okay, so active cell dot offset 0, 1 equals
Int math.
int math. Questions about this? So what I want to do is move 1 more to the right and put in there the VBA grade. Okay? And the last thing I want to do is move 1 more and put over there the average of these two. Okay? Now let's see if this whole thing works.
You have to change the numbers first. Or is that good?
What
The
do I want to
numbers
change?
for the active cell offset 0, 1, that's still going to be over the other one?
Let's see.
Okay.
Now, I want to teach you something new. You all just try to do a program like this from beginning to end. Some of you succeeded more, some of you succeeded less. Most of you, if not all of you, encountered problems where the program that you wrote did not work exactly the way you would want it to. Okay? When we have something like this, we have a program with a bug. How do we debug our program? So one important thing, I think we talked about it, is to run your program step by step. Okay? Not just play over here and run it through the whole thing, but go command by command and see what happens. So let's take this all the way to the right. Let's open this over here. And now I'm going to start running it by pressing F8. The F8 button, we call these buttons?
Key.
Key. The F8 key just allows me to run the program command by command. So here I started and it shows me where I am right now in the program. As you can see, str stu name is empty, as is math, as is int VBA. Okay, now I go over here.
Who did you press to do that? Just down?
I pressed
F8
F8,
again. And that
I'm
pushes
just-
you through the steps also.
did the next line, and I'm up to here. Now, I press F8, and the input box opens. I put over here a name,
Mashiach.
press OK. If I now hover over str stu name, you see it contains the string Yishai. Okay? And we're up to here. Int math equals 0 because the minute I declare an integer, the default is it's 0 until I change it. Now I press F8, it will run this command. Opens input box. I put in the input box information, and this information now is saved in this variable int math, and when I hover over it, I can see exactly that my program is working properly up till here, right?
Yes.
This is the way to debug a program where you run it and it goes and puts the information in different places, or it doesn't do what you expected it to do. You can go command by command and see what happens in each one of them, and then you can figure out where your program went astray. So, I press again the F8 and another input box opens, and I put here an integer, and OK, and now if I hover over this, I have the number that I put in. Range A1 select. See this? What is the active cell right now?
4.
A4. I press F8. Now the active cell is A1 because this command says select A1. Selection and Excel down dot select. Did I write this?
No, it's recorded.
No, this is what I recorded before. This is the command that was recorded when I pressed Control, arrow down. I don't have to remember this. I can just record it anytime I
Do
need
you
it.
remember it though?
Ellie, how does that code that makes it skip until it gets to an empty cell? How does that work for the other columns? Like, it makes sense that it would
One
work for the
second,
first
we'll
one.
get there. We'll get there.
That's
We're up to
that's
here
not
now.
offset.
I pressed F8 again. It went end Excel down. End meaning go all the way to the end of the data. Excel down meaning which direction. Now if I wanted to go from here all the way to the right, what would I change over here?
Excel right.
Excel right instead of Excel down. Okay? So Hebrew speakers will find this a bit hard, right, left. But English speakers, I think it's very easy to change down to right and up or down or left. It's the same idea. Okay, so I got to the last cell. Now, active cell offset 1, 0, 1 for the row, 0 for the column, meaning go 1 row down and stay in the same column. So now I am in the first empty cell that I want to put in information. Questions up to here? Okay, active cell equals whatever I put over here, that happened. Active cell offset, meaning 1 column to the right and the same row. So we put in the VBA, the math grade. Active cell offset int VBA. Okay, so it didn't work. Why?
Because there's no.
Because
0, 1.
They're all the same.
They're all the 0, 1.
they're all 0, 1. Okay? So what I need to do is change this to 0, 2, and change this to 0, 3. Now it will know skip 2 rows, 2 columns to the right, and 3 columns to the right. Okay? So let's repeat. Now, this is a bug. Okay? And it didn't work as the way I wanted it to do it. If I would have run this whole thing through, I would have got Ishai and I would have got the average over here. And go figure out what went wrong. When I use the F8 and I go through all the commands one by one, I see exactly where it went wrong. I see it online, which command didn't do what I expected it to do, and then I can figure out how to fix it. Okay? So now, if I go F8, it puts the average in the third one because I already corrected this. And F8 finishes the program. And now again, these have no meaning. Because these variables have a meaning only when the program is working. So now let's do it again. And put over here new variables and see if it works now. And here I got the new name, and I have 98, 65, and 81.5 for the average, and you put it in the new row. And if I run it once more, I get, again, in the new row,
How does it know to do the average?
oops, what happened
You
now?
put in text for.
It goes all the way down.
I put in text instead of a number, and when it tries to calculate this, it cannot do that, okay? Debug will show me where my mistake was. We didn't get to the calculation because, excuse me, we declared this as an integer, and I can't put letters into an integer variable, so it stops over here. And this is one of the reasons why it's advisable to declare and say which type, because then I don't keep on going and get to a mistake way down the program, but I get it right away and I can see exactly what the problem is.
If you had entered it not as an integer, there's the one that recognizes everything up to like,
Okay,
I
right.
forget what it's called. If I put it in as that, it would have tried to do the calculation of ERE
Right,
times.
right, and then with the variant is the name of
Right.
it. Okay, so just let's run this time when everything is working. So here I put text, a number, and I get in the first empty row the name, the grades, and the average.
Beautiful.
Okay? This is the code. Nothing new over here. Everything is things that we learned, and I didn't even put in here if statement. This is things that we did before we even learned about flow control, which we did the last class. Questions? Yeah.
If you would have an empty sheet which is name math VBA, would it still work?
No. Why?
That's what that's why I'm asking.
Okay. I asked you in advance to put in two lines like this. Why? Because if
It goes
all
the way
of
down
this
to the
is not present and I go and I record my macro and I do control arrow down, I get all the way to here. And then I'm not in the right place. If you have 2 lines already, then it will work with the...
We're only like 1,048,000 miles away.
Okay.
So how do you
Now,
do
how do you do this? If you want to do it and you have only one, okay? There's several ways of doing it, but what you can do is you can go and record a macro where you go someplace where you know there's nothing, okay? Record now, control, arrow down. Record now, control, arrow left. Record, control, arrow up. And then you get to the first line which has information, and then use the relative reference and go one down. Okay, so that's the way going around it. But I didn't want to get into all of this, so I told you in advance, have 2 lines already, and then you wouldn't have ran into this problem. So it wasn't just stam that I said that you should do this. Okay, it had a purpose. Questions? Yeah.
So when you write active cell and offset, if the first number is not a 0, so that means and the next one is, that means you're staying in that row, but not staying in the same column, and it's the opposite.
This is how many rows you want to move, the first parameter, okay? If it's a minus, you're going up in the rows. You're going, you want to go down in the numbers, okay? So if you're going down in the numbers from 4 to 3, it's moving up in the cells, right? Okay, and if it's a plus, then you're going down in the cells, moving up the numbers, okay? And if it's 0, you're staying in the same row. And the same goes for the next parameter, but in columns. Minus is going from a higher letter to a lower letter, okay? And 0 is staying in the same column, and plus a positive number is moving from a lower letter to a higher letter. Okay? Okay, so this is a test level question. There's nothing new that we didn't learn or do together.
How many questions are on the test?
We'll get to the exact test מבנה, איך אומרים? איך אומרים מבנה? What?
Build.
Build, the test build, exactly how it's built, structure, whatever. We'll get to that later on. I'll post also a few examples so you can practice and see how exactly it's done. We're just in the middle of the semester now, but I just want to know you to realize what we're aiming for. Okay? We're not aiming in doing new stuff. We're just aiming to know to apply things that we already learned in different situations, different scenarios. Yeah.
Is this an easier question or a harder question than the test?
And if so, on a scale from 1 to 10,
Yeah.
please rate it.
Like, yeah. You look for the easier questions, relatively?
No comment.
The thug life chose.
Okay. So, those of you who didn't get to this stage where you have a program working, please finish up and do it that it works. Those of you who already did, I want you to add now a few lines of code which will check if the average is above 90, you say you output a message where great job. And if it's less than 90, then you output a message, next time try harder, or something like that. You can write the messages as you wish. But
Should the ifs work for each and every line?
what?
Should the if work for each and every line?
Well, the way I built the program, it does every line by itself. Okay, so when you run the program, it will do one line. For that line, check the average and put out a message for that student which you are working on right now.
So we should just do it, could we just put the message there, the message box on the last line, which is active cell in integer math?
You don't put the message box in a cell.
It checks that, because that's the,
Yeah,
is there a way to do that?
figure it out.
It was just over 90 or below 90?
Over or equals that. Once you're done, I want each one of you to run your program with F8, where both the VBA code and the Excel is open, and go through each command with the F8 and see how it works, just to practice the F8 key.
Can we turn the volume off, please? Great. The average.
Question, now that you want us to do an if, does that mean we have to make another, assign another integer, another value? Because it has to check the number.
You don't have to.
So what is it checking?
Think about it. For a second. Good. You could, it won't be a mistake if you do. But you don't have to.
Why else if? Why is the else if? Else message box. Not in one line. Not in one line, there's no way.
The idea was that you would then check.
Yeah, you make these in there, they do right syntax. There's no shortcuts over here, you have to use the syntax.
Citation.
Who's done?
Questions?
You suck at everything.
Do you want us to run through each number row?
Score correct.
Or just one row?
Just one more.
Just one row.
I'll show you. Tell me if it makes sense because like it works. Just like it looks a little weird.
Does it work?
Yeah, it just looks. I just want to just like it says. I just copied the if active cell 03, which is the average. If it's greater than 90, then Mr. Doctor, you can do donors. That's fine. Yeah.
Just add to an equal.